everybody, and welcome back to the other 100 tiles and to Chiptune Hero. And like I said in the last video, I think you guys get the picture. Plat pass raining blood on expert. You can miss 7 notes. Oh boy, okay, we need to actually start over. So yes, this is actually pretty close, I believe, to what raining blood looked like on Guitar Hero. Like the exact notes for the most part, although I think Andrew avoided doing multiple notes at a time for most of this level. I think that would have made it even harder and slightly more interesting as far as making sure that you stay in one particular area. And whoa, now we're getting into some tough stuff here. Oh boy. Whoa. Okay. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Okay. There we go. So that's pretty much it. You just have to wait for that clone button to be pressed, and like the hint said, you can miss up to 8 fireballs, because this series of clone buttons that are above us are what ultimately clones the balls that we see right there. So we got the bold time, sweet, and now we can move on to platforming. This level I really like. This is a really fun one. It's actually meant to be sort of a sequel to a level that never made it into the set. It was also called Platforming, but it was a little bit bigger than this and a little bit harder to keep track of. Even though this was supposed to be the 2.0 harder version, I thought this was actually the easier version since you didn't have to worry about losing or getting lost, so that was nice. Although it did require, this one does require a little bit more in the way of faster keystrokes, but I mean the other one kind of did too. So I think this one is easier, and I think Andrew agreed after a while. So we go up here, and now we have to wait for this. So this is kind of a nice little obstacle there. And then we have to go over this way, and it's a really neat concept execution. Like, I really like it a lot. It's also a really difficult level to get bold on. But we got it solved on the first try, so that's cool. Let's move on to Blobfield. Retrieve the chips in the other 3 corners and the center. I cannot read hints today to save my life. So this level, it's kind of, well, not exactly, but it's sort of like Corral, according to Andrew, but I don't really think it is. I think it's sort of its own thing. If anything, and Andrew even mentioned this too, it's sort of also like Deserted Battlefield from CCLP1. And I think it's got an interesting aesthetic to it. It's pretty cool. It feels random like the actual blobs are. And it just fits together really well. I mean, it wouldn't have worked if it were another monster. This type of arrangement works for blobs. It really does. I think I'm going to get that center one now. There we go. And then we'll go to the other corner. I'm curious if I'll beat my time here. Because once again, this is a random level, so it's untimed. That was risky. But we made it, almost. Now we made it. There we go. And no, we did not beat not the bold time, but my old time. Bold time, old time. Let's move on to Maze of the Dragons. 9 chips for Maze. Chips are always safe spots. Teleporting is unnecessary and risky. Okay, so this level, according to Andrew, this was a level that was inspired by one of the rooms in Patterns, which we played in the last video. And we didn't actually go to this room. I now feel really bad for missing that. But essentially, it was kind of like this room that we're in right now, where there's a bunch of water and there's like this sort of snake-like stream of gliders going all over the place. And Andrew, I think, thought, oh, why don't we make a whole level that features that sort of thing? And I really like this level. In fact, I personally like it more than Patterns. And this should be the last chip. There we go. In fact, I'm going to do this one next, because this one features balls going on force floors, which is pretty crazy stuff. So I don't really want to get hit or die or anything. There we go. Good. Okay. I'm just going to wait here. Got 2 left, but thankfully... Whoa! Man, that's kind of a bit of a psych out there. Alright, I think I get the picture. There we go. Alright, now let's go on to the fireball room. I think this stream of fireballs is longer than the glider stream. Yeah, because the gliders like only had 6 or 7, right? I mean, this looks like 12 or something. I don't know, I haven't really counted them in the editor. I do like how there's different exits and you can get the monsters to blow up the bombs in the various corners and whatnot. Except for the, why did I do that? Seriously? Panic mode. Gotta love it. Why did I do that? Okay, let's start over. Let's get serious. I promise you guys, this is really not that hard. I'm making it way more difficult than it needs to be. Alright, let's go up here. In fact, wasn't this the route because we went clockwise last time, didn't we? Well, no, we did wait here when the monsters were doing that, didn't we? I don't know. I think we went clockwise, though. I seem to recall going clockwise. We did have to read the hint the first time around, so that played a bit of a role in the timing. I'm just going to run for it with reckless abandon. Except I totally waited here when I could have run with even more reckless abandon up here. Alright, there we go. Balls are out of the way. You go down here. I'm just going to wait here until they come up through that, and then... Oh man, this is going horribly. Why am I doing so poorly on this level? This cannot be this difficult. I mean, I've been able to get a time of 700 on this level before. It's really not that hard. It only takes like 100 seconds if you're going fast. Oh man, I mean, you can see the time there in the upper right. And no, I'm not taking the bold route, by the way. I'm not revealing the bold route. That's a mystery you will have to solve by yourself. Alright, I'm going to try running this way. There you go. I bet now we've got even more time over here, don't we? Or we can at least wait here instead of up or down below. No, we couldn't make that. I need to stop taking unnecessary risks. I really do. So how have you guys been doing? I mean, we're just playing this level over and over again, so might as well talk about something else. I've been doing okay. I've been dealing with a rather awkward situation, but other than that, everything's been going pretty well. Trying to think of anything really... I know something really interesting happened this week that was rather YouTube channel worthy, but I just can't remember what. It'll come to me, I'm sure. Oh yeah, the Mario Kart 8 DLC pack, the second one came out finally. And I gotta say, it is a blast to play through. I really love Mario Kart, as a lot of you guys know. And I really enjoyed this latest round of DLC. It was fun, it had a lot of variety in it, it just hit all the notes I was hoping it would hit. So, one thing I really want to do is, and I know I've mentioned this before, and I haven't really done it yet, but I really want to bring, like, console content to the channel and hook up my Wii U to some kind of capture card or something like that. I hope I can do that eventually. I still need to get a capture card. And with everything else going on in my life right now and all the things I've got planned for the channel at the moment, it's like right now the timing is just not the best, but maybe eventually, you know, who knows. We'll see how things go. But in the meantime, we are in the Paramecia room now. And this room I think is the easiest just because the monster pattern is very predictable. I mean, there are parts where it kind of bunches up against itself like that, and you know, you're not sure exactly how long it's going to take to unravel, but other than that, I mean, it's a pretty easy pattern to follow. And these should be the last two chips, so I'm just going to go ahead and just open up one of the sockets here and just wait for them to come by. I could take the force floor route where I don't have to wait for any monsters since the balls can't get off the slide, but I'd rather do this. I do not want to go back to the force floor room. Not if I can help it. Alright, we are done with Maze of the Dragons. And we're going to move on to Conveyor Craze. Now this level is based on a really interesting concept. Basically what you're supposed to do is, let's take a look around here first. Alright, so we really want to get up there. But in order to do that, we need to go through several other things first. And we need to figure out which one doesn't have a door behind it so we can actually Or wait a minute, what's if there's a key under this is probably the better question. Red key, okay. So the red door, I believe, was on top, so let's go over there. So we got a choice here. This path leads back down, as we can see here, but the right one leads up, so I'm just going to keep going up. And we can see the left one leads back down too, so I'm going to go right. And then this one, you can see that this changes and it goes up, so let's go left here. Alright, we got done with stage 1 of this room. So let's see, the first path, or the right path leads back down here. The down path leads over here, which will probably be useful later when we go to the yellow door. And the up path just loops back around, so let's go right. And, well, there's only really one choice here, it's down. And, well, the same thing here too, it's... Wait a minute. Could I have gone through and... Wait, no, this goes down, never mind. I thought this went up for a minute, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't optimize this correctly. Okay. Oh, wait. That was not correct either. So wait, how do you do this? Oh, that's right, we are supposed to go down, not right. We're supposed to go back down, because that's the only way we can get to the next station, which is, I believe, way over here on the right side. And getting there is actually pretty crazy. So we have to go here first, and then decide what we're going to do next. We can see that this would just lead us back to the start, the left path. The right path, let's see where that goes. It goes here, which is promising, and the up path just goes back to that whole thing. So let's go to the right path, because that's different. And here, up is really the only real option. So let's go up. And that takes the block over here. Alright, so if we go down, let's follow, it's just going to go back down there. So going left is just going to go down here to this, which could be good. And going right, well, same thing there. So let's go left. That seems a little counterintuitive, but thankfully, thanks to the ice cross thing there, it works. And we end up right here, so yay for that. And we don't really have much of a choice here, so let's just push the block along. And here we can go either up or right. Up, let's see, that goes here, which is promising. Right goes, it loops around, so that's not going to work either, like down, so let's go up. Alright, so now we're back over here again. We need to go left to get the block back up to the top area. So let's go and follow our earlier order and go back to where the red door area was. But this time I'm going to go down instead of right. That way we can go here and get out of this room. So yay, we're on to the second half of the level. The bottom left trap corresponds to the bottom left button, etc. Alright, so we got a couple of traps there that we can see. And we got 3 trap buttons. I guess there's a third trap that's out of sight, which makes sense because we stand right here next to the trap buttons. We can't see the third one. So we need to figure out how to get inside. So the first button we'll need to press is the bottom left one. Alright, well, let's figure out how to do that here. So now this is at a crossroads. We can go right or down, or up. And up goes to this thing, from which we could go here and back to where we are, so that's not going to work. Right, okay, that leads here, which is a difference. Okay, what about down? Okay, that accomplishes what up does, so let's go right. Alright, so we've made some progress. Going right again will just lead it back to this thing, so we really want to go up, because that's the different choice. And it looks like we've made a good choice here. But we cannot get to the button with just this block, so is there another one around? Ah, here we go. Oh, whoops. That's a solution that's going to come in handy for a later level, that little trick right there, but not this one. Let's push this one through the little maze here. Thankfully, it's very difficult to cook this level. At least I don't think there are many opportunities to do so unless you do something really weird down here. But thankfully, the slides that always loop back around and stuff, so that's a relief. So we got that button pressed, so let's go up here to this part of the level where we can access another block, which we can use for the next button. That'll be good news. Up, that's right. And then we can just do this again and then push that. Like that. Perfect. Alright, so now we got 2 blocks in place. I really like, compared to the first room, I really like the second room even more, I think. It's kind of, I mean, yeah, it is kind of repetitive, but I do like the idea, and I think it's executed really well. And we need that trap held down, so let's make that so. Right. Up there. Alright, and then let's just extract these one at a time and create a little chain here. There you go, all 3 are in place. Sorry, I had to drink some juice right there. For some reason, my throat's been kind of bothering me. It's not like a sore throat, it feels weird. So now what do we do? Well, you can see we need to blow up the bombs here, and thankfully we've got the tools that we need to do it. All we need to do is just get the blocks back on the slide, and we should be home free. There we go. And then just go over here to let them all through. Alright, that's a really cool mechanism. I like that a lot. Alright, so we get all these blocks in place. And thankfully we can even take a little shortcut here, which is pretty nifty. And exit time. That was a lot of fun. Long, but fun. Window of opportunity. You can miss up to 13 ships. It's probably not possible to get all 73. This is a really interesting concept. Basically, let's wait for it. There we go. Tanks will come down this line, and you have to jump in the line with your block when you get the chance, before it's too late. It's a cool concept. The only problem is that in Microsoft there's slide delay to keep track of as well. So that kind of ruins the whole point of it, but it actually adds a new layer of optimization to it as well. So I can't really fault the level for an optimization challenge. I do enjoy that. Unfortunately, slide delay also makes it kind of a little bit annoying, so you got that to deal with as well. But thankfully we made it through that one in time, barely, and we can now make it to the next room and get all the chips in this little maze. I do like this kind of level that has a concept connecting a bunch of rather ordinary challenges, but the way they're presented and just the way it all fits together is really interesting. And whenever a level can do that, I always appreciate it. And now we're going to keep track of slide delay as well, since the tanks are on force floors and all that stuff. And this room is basically a what's the best way to get everything in the nick of time sort of thing. And I'm taking a bunch of risks here, but I think it'll work. And I think I got everything we need. So let's move on. Looks like we won't have to worry about the nick of time. We've got plenty of time. The bad news is that this next room has a bunch of chips, and they're all impossible to get in time, so to speak. So the hint is right. It's not probably possible to get all 73. It is it's probably not possible to get all 73. It is impossible. And so you have to be really choosy here. You can get pretty close, I think, but overall it's pretty much impossible to get everything. I think you might come up like one door short. And I'll just go down for the rest. This isn't really worth it. Whoa, that's not gonna help. And now we got everything, so we're good to go. Alright, so now it's just a matter of waiting here. I mean, I know I could just kind of do some sort of flick thing, or not flick, but like a nail sort of thing when a tank happens to be there, if slide delay were cooperative, but I really don't want to risk that this late in the level. And here we get like a mini version of the challenge in case you didn't get all the chips. I'll just kind of quickly go through this. So, it's pretty fun. And we're done. Moving on to cracking the armor. Alright. This is a level, I like the idea, but it kind of gets a little bit long in the tooth. And I know I mentioned to Andrew, Andrew, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I even brought this up, but back when this level was in development, I actually suggested that Andrew add yet another room to it, just because it looked really awkward since about 3/4 of it was filled up. But I'm really glad that he did not add another room to it, because that would have made it even longer, and the last thing this level needs is to be even longer, because I think it's got enough challenges as is. It's a really cool level. I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining about it, because it's really awesome. But it does get a little bit long, particularly one section. Now, you note the little mechanism there with the fireball, because that's going to be a center of activity here for us. I think I'm going to go here first. And in this room, we get a bunch of blocks that we have to push around to get to chips. And this room actually served as the basis for one of my own levels called Shambles. It's basically just this, but it's got a bunch of gravel all over the place, and it's, to a certain extent, I think, a little harder than this level is. But it's meant to kind of look like a big ancient ruins kind of area, you know, that kind of thing. Alright, so here's the really long room. This whole area with the gliders. You have to press these trap buttons to activate these claw machines that allow you to kind of do the salmon routine, kind of like the earlier level when we did that. The problem is that you have to keep going back and forth and further back and back in order to get to more trap buttons. And there are some shortcuts, so to speak, in this level where you can, zip back here to this first part without having to go backtrack when you're done with the trap button. But even at that, it is still kind of a little long. So I think we've got one more. Maybe it's not that bad, but still, it does feel a little tedious. It's a cool concept, though. Don't get me wrong. I really do like it. And I'll just stay here just to be safe. But yeah, see, we got like yet another one here. The good news is I believe this one will allow us to just instantly go back here when we're done. I think we just passed by the fourth slide, too. Oh, wait, will we get the bold time on this? Because if we do, that'll be crazy. No, we're not. It would have been funny if we did, but no. I think I was way too slow in a bunch of places. Particularly the ball area. That area you really need to be to have a good block pushing sequence. But we made it out with a decent time. 2:43. Moving on to Furnace Duct, level 48. Alright, so this level I really like. This is probably one of my favorite levels in this decade. Well, okay, it's stacked up against platforming and Phase of the Dragons, but this level I really like. It's got, from an aesthetic perspective, this level definitely fulfills that kind of role where it's really all about the feel of it, and it's got a kind of a theme going with all the fire and everything, and it really just works. I really appreciate it when levels run with a theme and can just really embrace it wholeheartedly. And this is one of those levels. I really do like that. And I think that's something that this set's missing quite a bit of, but just because it's a lot more difficult. Because it's really easy, I think, and sometimes to a certain degree necessary to have good aesthetics when you're making an easy level, because it's hard to make an easy level stand out. And if you want to make your easy level stand out, go to CC1 and just look at what the designers there did. I mean, they did some interesting things with their design to make those levels memorable. I mean, Ice Slide, yeah, it's an ice maze, and it's not exactly the most fun level ever, but that little, ice corner formation type thing, I mean, that made that level what it is. I mean, we know that level because of that. I mean, that's like kind of that level's claim to fame, so to speak. So, when you're making easy levels, I think that's kind of more of a necessity if you really want to stand out. But when you're making more difficult levels that are concept-oriented rather than more instruction-oriented, then you really have to focus on developing the concept and just focusing on the gameplay more than focusing on how the level looks. And I do applaud Andrew for not just making all the levels about aesthetics, but it is nice to have some, and this level definitely fulfills that really nicely. And it's a nice dodging challenge. I think it just works so well. It's really a blast. And here we get to just run away from this fireball and wait for it to come here. Kind of like Paramecium Palace. That's really what that reminds me of from Pit of Wonder Tiles. But we're done. And we're moving on to Paramecia Apartments. Speaking of parameciums, let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of really wacky shaped little holes where these Paramecia are living. Let's go and explore. Yeah, lots of crazy stuff happening here. Now, this level originally had even more craziness to it, but thankfully Andrew actually cut a bit of that down. Just because, especially this area here, this one was just way too chaotic and just nuts. So I'm really glad that it's not quite so insane anymore. I don't really want to say bad, because I wouldn't say it was bad. I mean, it was just really hard to navigate. So let's get through that. I feel like that's one of the more difficult parts of the level. It's that beginning section. If we can't get past that, we need to open the red door. Kind of a clever mechanism there. But now we got the blue key that we need to open this thing up so we can get above. Kind of a nice way to enforce that. You know, you got these monster... Oh, come on, really? You got these little monster holes that you can use, and I'm just going to go up first and do this. And you have to open the doors to give them more breathing room. And it's a really interesting challenge. This is yet another level where getting the bold time is really difficult, just because there's like, at least to my knowledge, there's only one solution that gets you 413. I've found like a bajillion solutions that give you 412, but only one 413 solution. And it all comes down to like what order you do things in and what ships you leave behind when, and it's one of those kind of things. And here we got to open this up so that the Paramecium has room once again. Make sure we come up here with a red key so we don't get trapped. Then down here we got this little challenge where we have to get to the chip, and by doing so we can open that up, and or to do so, and get the Paramecia inside. And blow up all the bombs, which is fun. And kind of cathartic in a way. I do like seeing monsters go to bombs and no longer bother us anymore. It's a really satisfying feeling. Alright. So, I think we're nearing the end. And we should be pretty close to being done, but Oh, wait, I know what we're missing. I was like, wait, 417? There's no way we could have blazed through it that quickly. I mean, I've had a hard time getting in 413. We forgot this area up here. Remember we couldn't get past this earlier? Okay, let's make sure we're safe, then go through. There we go. Alrighty, there we are. And might as well just go through here. Alright, we made it through Parameciapartments, Apartments, and then we're finally here at level 50, the much talked about level that the secret hints have been pointing to, unlocking the Hyperdimensional Gate. Experiment with this to find the right brown button, or just use the secret hints. So basically, this is a guessing level where you have to figure out what the correct button is. And we have to use the secret hints. So the first one was for the northwest. I don't really remember what the order was, but I do remember I think this was the first one. And the clue was that the teeth stares at it, so we can see that the teeth is pointing directly at this one over here. And so let's test this out. It works, alright, so it's safe to go through. I do like the testing mechanism. That is much appreciated, Andrew. Alright, so now we're going to have to make well, not a really long trip, just go over here. Now the one for the southwest, the hint said that it was in the middle of the only 5x7 rectangle or something, which I believe is this area. So yeah, this is a 5x7 rectangle. Good, alright, we made it through that one. And then there was this one over here that was about corners. There's like up left of another, like below one corner, up left of another, so is it that one? Let's see. No, okay. Is it this one? Let's see if that works. Yes, okay, it is that one. Perfect. And then finally, there is this one that's... It had to do with 3 2s, I believe. Below the third of 3 2s, I think. Is it that one? No. Hang on a sec. No. It's not any of those buttons. Is it one of these? No. It is one of those. Okay, good. So maybe it's 2... Wait, I think it was 2 below the third of 3 2s. I think that was the hint, right? It is. Okay, good. Alright, so now that we've done all that, we can finally get out and go to the exit, which is a matter of dodging some balls. Which is thankfully not that bad. It's just a matter of timing this last bit correctly. Which I did not do. There we go. We're done with the Hyperdimensional Gate, and we can now proceed into the second half of the set, beginning with pocket dimensions. I guess that's kind of appropriate considering what we just went through. But we'll take that on in the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry this kind of went on for a little while, but I hope it was still a lot of fun to watch. I'll catch you on the flip side. So until then, take care, and I will see you next time.